All right, folks, we're back.
Ready?
Yeah.
We're going on the Guinness Book of World Records for longest show ever recorded.
Okay, we're back. I am Mark McDougald, and my lovely co-host today, as I mentioned in the opening segment, is Felicia McDougald. And before the break, we were talking about millennials, the three biggest financial mistakes that each generation makes. Fee, do you want to tell our listeners real quickly what three generations are speaking of?
Again, we're speaking of millennials, Xers, and boomers.
Okay, what are the ages of those? Do you know? That's okay.
Not by year.
All right, okay.
Jeez,
We won't get into it.
quiz.
All right, and but before we get back into that, we already shared with you a couple of the mistakes that those young whippersnappers, Gen Y, or as Felicia calls the millennials, the mistakes they're making. But before we jump back in there, we're going to talk about refinancing and whether refinancing to get rid of PMI makes sense. Does it? Maybe. Maybe not, but like any other refinance transaction, you've got to do the homework. First thing you need to do is contact your lender. Well, the first thing you need to do is, what's your interest rate? Right out of the gate. If your interest rate is, we'll say, 3 7/8%, and the offered refinance rate is 4 1/8, well, now we have a little more complicated formula for you, because you got to identify, and you're running the risk of going, how much am I going to save by a lower mortgage insurance factor or getting rid of it to recoup the difference in the higher interest rate, which I'm going to have for the remaining term of the loan, and any costs associated with it. It gets a little complex there. The easy no-brainer is, can I refinance and lower my interest rate? And if I know that I'm at the same or a better equity position than when I bought the house, and I'm pretty comfortable in that, then there's a good chance that you're going to come out ahead by spending the money and investing in the application fee and or the appraisal fee to consider the refinance. And there's also the most conservative route, is one that you want to go down first, is if neither of those apply. So in other words, well, if the first one applies where your interest rate's higher now and the offered refinance interest rate is higher than what your current one is, and you're sure of that, well, then you're going to call the lender, find out the terms of the refinance, or not the terms, but the what your options are for mortgage insurance to drop. Natural amortization, which means you just make your standard payment over a certain number of years. When you get to 78%, it's going to drop right out of the gate. It's going to drop, no ifs, ands, or buts. However, most of us don't want to wait that long, and if we've had appreciation in our house, the next step is the servicer, the person you make your payment to. They will ask you to send them a check for an appraisal fee, and they will order an appraisal. When they get it back in, if it's enough where it's at 80% or you have 20% or greater equity, then you'll get your MI, your mortgage insurance dropped. If it's not, then you're out that money. You still may have the opportunity to refinance with them, but as we tell you, you've got to shop around. The best deal you're going to get is almost 99 out of 100 times is going to be by working with an independent mortgage banker, someone that can sell your loan to multiple end servicers. Bottom line is, can you save money? Can you get rid of MI? Sure. Got to do your homework. 3 routes. One is contact the lender, see if and when your MI is scheduled to drop off, find out what their current offered interest rate is for a refinance and what the costs associated with it. And if interest rates are such that you believe you can save money by refinancing, get out, shop around, just like Captain Tennille say. What do they say? What's Captain and Tennille say? Or Tennille say? Do you know? You better shop around. Come on, where are you? You're going to start singing Muskrat Love. Okay, I'm dating myself.
You are you in the boomer category?
No, not quite. Okay, so before the break, we were talking those big financial mistakes, and the first one for millennials, folks, and this is for every generation. I'm going to give you a little tease that may or may not be on the list for the other two, but every single generation, there's such a large number of you that are failing to put aside that emergency fund, the 6 to 12 months of living expenses. Also, those the younger generation, the Gen Yers, the millennials, were also, they weren't staying on top of their insurance. Why? I don't know. Possibly because they've not had those life experiences where they've had to use their insurance. But you
Still
got to
surprises
understand your
me.
coverage, stay on top of it. And then the last was they're the least likely generation to plan for retirement or college. I can tell you folks, now, planning for college, if you don't have kids yet, it's not as important, but when you have kids, start that 529 plan, start chipping away at it, plan for your retirement today. The rule of compounding interest, understand the rule of 72, and look that up, little homework assignment for our listeners. And if you start today, it's amazing how many years you're going to knock off of, maybe years in stress, by achieving your financial goals earlier, by starting so much earlier. When we go next, after this break, we're going to start, we're going to tackle my generation and my lovely wife's generation, the Gen
boomers?
Xers. Yeah, you got it. Hey, your generation. Keep on hanging out with us. Back in a few. Life as you own it.
Life as you own it.
That was pretty good.
I think that was much better. Yeah, that was good.
You are
For those in Radio Land, that was not my first take.
That was not her first take. That was take number 72. Yep. All right, folks. I'm Mark McDougall.
I am
My lovely
Felicia
co-host,
McDougall.
Felicia McDougall, and we're with you for about another 35, 40 minutes or so. So we appreciate you hanging out with us. Remember, you can reach us at 800-270-6425. We're the Roof Over Your Head show. A lot of great information for you each and every weekend. Thanks so much for following us on Facebook, on Twitter, and thanks for joining us on your weekend. We know your time is valuable. That's why we are planning on putting money in your pocket by making you a little bit wiser, a little bit brighter. Yes, I'm looking at my wife as I say that because it is all true. It is. Stop laughing. Okay, so before the break, we were talking about the millennials and some of the mistakes that they made. We've covered that. Now we're jumping into your generation, or I'm sorry, my generation, Gen X. Fee, you ready? What are
I'm
the
ready.
mistakes the Generation Xers are making? Those Xers, what are
Well,
they doing?
according to MarketWatch, it says they are least likely to hit retirement income goals. So, and I thought it was interesting. They said they are, quote, faced with competing priorities. Gen Xers may be putting their children first at the expense of their own financial security.
You know what that generally means? They're spending more money, more time, and it's a common, we see it a lot, is providing that life that maybe they can't quite afford if they're thinking of their longer-term financial picture, and they're investing in not only possibly the vacations, the events, the activities. Our kids, like our puppies, it's amazing that how much we can invest in things that aren't actually necessities. And how we can, as a family, with our kids first and foremost, establish spending patterns and ways to save money and do things that are maybe life-enriching, but do not cost a lot of money. But it is amazing how easy it is to spend money on our children and ourselves now that this technology, we'll call it the technology advancements. You can blow through $30 invisibly buying a couple movies and downloading a few songs in just a few keystrokes, right, Fee?
I don't know what you're talking
Or your
about.
kids can if you're not careful. That 5-year-old might end up buying, I don't know, the Gone with the Wind,
That's
the
right.
limited edition for $39.99 on,
Our 5-year-old
iTunes.
was on Pinterest at 11 p.m. last night, so yeah, we got to watch for that.
Whatever. I don't know what you're talking about. That's crazy. Someone needs to turn someone in. And it's not me, folks. I do not have a Pinterest account, mind you. Nothing against those of you that do. My wife might have a Pinterest affliction, though. Okay, so what else on the Gen X is least likely to pay off credit card balances? Folks, we talk about it all the time on the show. You've got to manage your credit, and the key part of that, number one weakness many of us have, is spending today and thinking we can get it paid back tomorrow. Well, it's kind of hard to do when your interest rate is 15, 20, 25%. Other things we might do is we might be funding that retirement account, which I love for people to do, or we might be paying, more importantly, is we see people paying down an interest rate on a mortgage that might be at 4.5%.
Yeah.
They're doing a 15-year refinance, but they've got outstanding credit card debt at 15, 20, or 25%. Come on, folks, you're smarter than that. While we can all agree that having no debt is good, paying off your highest interest rate debt first and foremost is the way that you get where you want to be. And then the last one is least likely to avoid overlapping investment. When asked if they looked at their combined assets, develop a master allocation and avoid overlapping investments, 21 of Gen Xers said yes, less than boomers, 37%, and even millennials, 23%. The report says Gen Xers may be too preoccupied with day-to-day issues. Faced with competing priorities, Gen Xers may be putting their child first at the expense of their own financial security. Okay.
No news there
All right.
for
So
me.
baby boomers, what mistakes are they making? Number
Well,
one.
retirement. I'd say.
Yeah, it's almost a little late for.
It is. That's
yes.
what's interesting.
The mistake, you're right, the mistake they are making, it's never too late to start. Obviously, if you're hitting the baby boomer, if you're a baby boomer and you didn't proactively plan for retirement, just didn't have a financial plan, then no time like the present. So don't think that, you know what, I just can't do it. I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing, and I'm going to work till I'm 80. Woe is me. I can't get there. Yes, you can. You can. You can commit to a budget. You can commit to a disciplined budget, a way of spending money, and the way of investing money. Paying off your house at 3.5% or 4% interest, is that better than investing in a balanced portfolio at 5.5%, 6.5%, 7%, or maxing your 401k to the amount that your company will match? You've got a 25% match. Don't leave those dollars on the table. Understanding your benefits at work so you can leverage them to save the most money, whether it's through a cafeteria plan at your work, whether it's through, whether it's in essence self-insuring if you've been a healthy person by putting money into a flexible spending account for your medical needs. There are a lot of ways, and your company provides these benefits and the resources to educate you so you can come out ahead. So make sure you educate yourself. And if you're listening to this show each and every week, you're taking a step in the right direction. It
does say they're least likely to retire at age 65. And honestly, I'm surprised this number hasn't moved as life expectancy has moved. I'm surprised this number hasn't moved anyway to be later, because I don't think that's going to be the retirement age for us Xers.
It's not. Well, it's not the retirement age now, and it's when Social Security is kicks in where you can fully realize the benefit of your Social Security, and but the reality is baby boomers and all generations, especially I would say even Gen Xers they're going to be working longer because they are not socking away. They're not planning for retirement. They're not doing those things. And the reality is, we're also living longer. Some of us enjoy what we do. So I plan to work until I'm well over the age of 65. It's just going to be who's going to be the judge. Who's going to be the judge of whether what I do is actually work, or I'm just having fun and someone's just giving me a couple bucks to do it.
Yep.
All right. Also on our baby boomers, we've got least likely to believe opportunities await. Only 26% of baby boomers say they have greater opportunities available to them because of their age and generation versus 61% of millennials. Well, that's unfortunate because I think with technology and the evolution of technology, I believe that the baby boomer generation, those that will embrace change, as you're forced to do. The longer you're on this earth, you're either going to embrace the change, you're going to fight it. And if you're fighting it, well, you're cut out to have a pretty miserable day. And so those of you that embrace the change, the opportunities that exist, how many people over the age of 70, now walking around with an iPhone or an iPad, or getting on Facebook. The number is growing. Yes, it's crazy. The number, it's it's harder to adapt to change as you go to. I get it, but the opportunities that are going to be, available to bright members of the elderly set once they retire, whether it's sharing their experiences, whether the technical or life experiences that they've got that can be translated much more easily into a product that can be put out on the web or using their services because of the advancements of technology. I believe that the extension of their working life and the opportunities for them are greater than ever.
Okay.
All right, so there we go. And, okay, we're going to move right into, since we millennials, and let's jump into a bucket list.
A bucket list.
Let's do it. Do you have a bucket list?
I don't have a completely formulated bucket list. I think coming into the show, I said I think every couple should do one together so you can help knock some of those off. I've got a couple things on my
And I agree.
bucket
We're
list
talking
here.
about this, and it was one of the reasons it was intriguing to me because I knew it would be thought-provoking for my wife and I to share this information with our listeners and then to go through the exercise ourselves. You want to do it right now?
Let's do it.
Let's do it on air. We're going to do our personal bucket list.
No, before we do that, can you tell people where they can go? Because they might be going bucket list. There are places you can go online that will kind of take you through a bucket list, right? You can do some searches out here,
Oh, you Google bucket list, and you're going to get a million different
places that can help guide you
places you can
through.
go. Yeah,
just
so
to
we're going to
kinda
give you
help-
just a broad overview. Do your own research, but folks, bottom line is the bucket list are the things that you want to do, big, high level things. Dream big. Yeah, what's preventing you from doing any of these things? Because the one currency that we all probably agree we don't have enough of is what, Fee?
affection.
I don't get enough
Time,
of it. I give it. I don't.
time,
I
time.
dole out that currency.
Right,
I just don't.
suck it in.
That's
suck it
right.
in.
But it's time, folks. That's the currency we don't have enough of. Why do we
Right.
work? Why do we work? We get paper currency. We get money so that ideally we can create experiences that take what time, and so really the currency we're all short on most is time. So create the bucket list. Knock these things out. Don't look back and go, I wish I woulda. I wish I coulda. I shoulda. Because the reality is you can. It takes a little bit of planning and a lot of creativity, and you can get there. So bottom line is, create your bucket list. What are the experiences you want to do? We've got a website. We're going to put it on. We've got a link. We're going to put it on the website, or we'll kick it out on our Facebook and Twitter, where you can get 1,000 bucket list suggestions and the considerations for creating your bucket list. Fee, you want to go over them?
You go.
Okay.
Start. Yep.
So the first one is determine what your time frame is. If you're are you healthy? Ideally, if now. When I say determine what your time frame is, none of us know when we may leave this world. So don't assume. Don't create this grand bucket list and then just assume you're going to get it all done whenever you're 70 and retire. Start your list today. Get the list started today and start knocking on. Start checking them off. But do an honest assessment. How much time do you have to live? Next is, how strong are you? Obviously, and how good is your health? The next one, what are your financial resources? And I'm going to tell you, doing a little research, you would be amazed at how creatively you may be able to accomplish some of your goals. There could be an opportunity, let's say you have a goal to go to another country. Is there an opportunity for you to do mission work? Might be another part of your bucket list to give back. There might be a part you want to go to. So can you go to, and there are developed countries that also have opportunities for mission work. Go through your church, look up, Google mission work opportunities for elderly or any age. Again, this is something you can do at any time. Are there volunteer opportunities at embassies in other countries? Lots of ways to be creative, and you've got a great resource called Google and the internet that can help you do that. Think about it. Ask your friends. Come up with ideas. Do your research. If you're listening to this show, hopefully this is just one little place that you can get some inspiration and ideas to do some of these things. And areas of interest to be considered. Some of them might be places. The common one is, for you, what are you, Fee? You tell me. When you think of your bucket list, what are some things that you come up with? Anything?
Places to go. Yeah. Languages.
Oh, the places you'll go. Yeah, you want to learn.
I do want to learn.
Okay, you want to learn languages.
I
right?
do.
How many?
I'd like to be fluent in 2 other languages. Spanish
Two
first.
other languages.
Mm-hmm. And then maybe another
So,
Latin-based language, like Italian.
I'm fluent in 2 right now.
Stop.
And, what?
Stop.
What do you mean stop?
I know you're talking about the language of love.
Oh my gosh, thank you. That's so flattering that my wife would say I'm fluent in the language of love. Yes, I am, folks. And I'm modestly fluent in English. That's a little. Some might debate on that.
Having just gone to Mexico,
but
we
definitely
know that's
fluent
not
in
it.
English. Well, I didn't say Spanglish. Okay, yeah. But folks, that's a good. My wife has always said that, and I'm going to tell you, honey, get on it.
I know.
Focus on Rosetta Stone. Let this be a plug
know.
for Rosetta Stone because I believe that anyone can master another language in 8 weeks or less. Just
And
might
then
not be me.
I like the family and friends to see and spend time with. I'd like to spend more time with my family.
That makes one of us.
My brother and my sister in Idaho.
Okay, I'd like to spend more time with my family also, so we can plan
So we
separate
can work
vacays.
we
Yep.
can work that out at the end of the show.
That's right.
That's right.
Hey, I like this suggestion: a personal history to write. I think we should all task our parents. Maybe I'm going to task my parents right now.
I've asked my grandmother to do this.
Get them to
Yep.
they can, and folks, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't like to write. I can't type. You know what you can do?
Record it.
You get it recorded. Get those memories from. I'm going to say this as a child of somebody. Get your parents, get your grandparents, get your aunts, uncles, people you're close to. If you want their stories, I think this is a great one. to get their story, get their information that you can share with generations to come.
And do it now, folks. As someone that's lost both their parents, once they're gone, the stories are gone. So get those stories. You know, what was that like as a kid? How did you guys meet? Things like that. Very important. And just upload them to your iCloud and forget about them. You'll stumble on them later and
Yep.
and go, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did that.
And some others are, before we take a break, are going to be some people may on a personal search for spiritual meaning.
Yeah.
Begin the search today. There's great value in that. The
We
search
do
is
that.
where the value is.
Yep.
Also, maybe sports, hobbies, activities to try. Folks, there's nothing you can't do if you put your mind to it and you throw in a little creativity and imagination. And that includes staying tuned to the show, because we're going to be back in just a moment. Life as you own it. Fantastic weekend. Thanks for hanging out with us. And remember, reach out to us, 800-270-6425. This is Life as You Own It. My wife always asks me, why did you change your show to Life as You Own It from the Truth in Lending Show years ago? It was kind of a legendary show, Truth in Lending Show. Established quite a niche in the real estate lending and personal finance kind of show genre. We really didn't change a whole lot of what our show content was, but it didn't really catch the name of the show. Truth in Lending, people always go, Truth in Lending, you talk about so much more. You're right. Our objective isn't to talk about lending or even borrowing money as much as it is about setting yourself on the right path to financial success. And one component, again, is borrowing money for a home, borrowing money for college education. Sure, that's one, but the larger component is just making sure that you have a plan and all the little things, all the little tricks, all the little nuances, all the little things that you can do to educate yourself to be a more sophisticated, savvy consumer and participant in this life. Bottom line is, my personal philosophy is that you have an opportunity to own this life. Don't be a victim, own it. And you also have an opportunity to leave this life with class and dignity. And I want to make sure you know that next weekend's show, a little plug for next weekend's show, we are going to talk about, as we talked at the beginning of this show, we're going to talk about what, Fee?
Planning for your death.
You got it. She looked at me, talk about planning for your death. And obviously...
Not a fun topic.
Not
for
a
most
fun
people.
topic, but
No.
those of you that have... This is going to be a beneficial show to those of you that have loved ones. For yourself, just listening to this, laying some of these things, have a real conversation with yourself and your family, starting to put the pieces together to have a plan. Maybe you didn't have a plan through the majority of it. Maybe you winged it a lot. Maybe you're blessed and fortunate that you had a pretty damn good life and you made it this far with just kind of winging it. I suspect you had much more of a plan than you're giving yourself credit for. But the bottom line is, all of us have an opportunity to strategically plan. And what greater opportunity to give the gift to our family and friends and loved ones and ourselves to have a little more dignity, a little more strategy to how we leave this earth. So it's going to be a great show. I'm really going to enjoy it. My wife is really passionate about the subject matter. So I encourage all of you to check out next weekend's show when we're going to dig in a little deeper on this. Okay, so did you know home ownership rates have sunk to the lowest level since 1993? Did you know?
Did not know.
The percentage of U.S. residents who own their homes is the lowest point it has been for more than 20 years, according to a report from the U.S. Census Bureau. Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
Well,
or does it really matter?
It's a good thing for millennials, according to MarketWatch, who should delay home ownership.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, you're jumping into an editorial from an earlier information on the show that we provided.
Look
Yeah,
at
so
that.
good job. Well, it's folks. Yeah, is it a good thing that home ownership has dropped a little bit? Probably so, because there are many people that should not be homeowners.
Right.
And there are many people that had opportunities to purchase homes, whether they had poor credit, no down payments, limited job stability, and it is the biggest investment you will likely make in your life. It is a financial investment. Just because you can borrow $200,000 with no money and you're still borrowing $200,000, look at it like the investment that it is. That home can go up in value, it can go down in value. Don't let it impact your overall financial goals by bringing you down with it. Go ahead.
I'd be interested to see how much of that is impacted by the fact that people are getting married later and therefore don't feel the push and the need to purchase a home early. I'm sure all of that will come about, but
Sure.
I have
Well,
several friends who
there
are
are
in that
some
bucket.
factors, but getting married later is a big one of it. And also, we're going to see this turn back the other direction, and we are right now, as the most recent date is, home This market's on fire. Who sings that song? You like when I sing?
Not you.
This market's on fire. Thank you. Well, I should be looking at the camera. This market's on. So the nationally, who is it? Rihanna? Alicia Keys. I like Alicia. She's got some.
Not
pipes.
well enough to know what song she sings.
That
but I
she
do
probably
like her
doesn't like that
nonetheless.
I'm singing her song or something like it. Bottom line is nationally there